lots of bear stuff in my store, so y'all have to come in and check it out. It sells really, really well. And, go ahead.
John Worthington, I'm a senior wildlife biologist with Hochatown.
I'm Helen Harden, I'm the town clerk for Hochatown.
I'm Diane Jordan, I'm the mayor of Hochatown.
Matt Hensley, Black Bear Project Leader for Oklahoma Department of Wildlife.
Shelley Copeland, promotion creative, and I work with the Hochatown community with their media.
I'm Jay Harvey, I'm the game warden manager for the Choctaw Nation.
You'll get a chair right here. Come
Where?
on, come
Right
on.
here.
It's like church, no sitting in the back unless you get here later.
Mm-hmm.
Then you gotta sit in the sun.
I may burn up.
I'm Steve Copeland, just a local resident.
I'm Charles Benton, entertainment director for Hochatown, Oklahoma.
That's correct.
Devin Wimley, I'm the Conservation Education and Outreach Coordinator for Choctaw Nation.
Jordy Rotz, wildlife technician.
Matt Gamble, Senior Manager of Wildlife for Hochatown Nation.
Cool, beaners. Okay, who wants to start? Devin, who wants to start?
I'll let Matt, since he's got the Bear-wise info with him.
So yeah, I actually brought some of these to distribute to cabins. I'm not sure which would be the best way to get these into the cabins, but what these are is ODWC is a member of the Bear-wise group, and we have access to these different products, flyers. They even manufacture bear-proof trash cans and paraphernalia, caps, stickers, magnets.
We love trinkets.
Yeah, so yeah, we have access, and you can order those at the website. I think I may have sent you a link to some of that stuff. But for the last few years, we've had a handful of instances where we've had a habituated bear in the middle of a cluster of cabins that became an issue. It's not often, but in the past few years we have had a couple that were so habituated they were really hard to trap and relocate. And I think that the biggest attractant for these bears is those plastic trash cans, like we've talked about. I really feel like the ultimate answer to avoiding human-bear conflict is to secure the trash. I think that's the biggest thing. Corn feeders, bird feeders, those are other things that are attractive. They're not as big as those trash cans. And trying to trap a bear a couple of years ago, I started trying to trap him in about June, late June, early July, I think it was. And I didn't catch him until November. Well, I mean, y'all know that's odd for a bear to still be out prowling around in November, but he was so habituated to those trash cans, and I couldn't get him to go in a trap. I mean, I baited with corn and sardines, and these traps were full of steak and donuts and beer, and I mean, he wasn't buying that. He was going for the trash.
What kind of beer?
That was the problem.
He may have been alcoholic by the time we finally caught him. But anyway, so circling back around to these flyers, Bear-wise has different types of flyers. This is the one that seemed the most relative to informing out-of-state guests, or it's a vacation flyer. So it just kind of goes over some basic stuff. A lot of people y'all know come from out of state, and they're like, we have bears in Oklahoma? I mean, they don't have any idea. So I think a good first step would be just figuring out how to get this information in front of people.
That bearwise.com, whatever it is, that is excellent.
There's
You know?
a lot of good information.
Yeah, and the post on Facebook, they're constantly posting on Facebook. I was told it's, women that did that website.
I think so.
You go ladies. So, but it's really excellent. I follow it all the time and I share posts on it on Facebook all the time because it's done really well. I think one of the problems with us right now is being a beginner in this thing. I'm looking at, I'm afraid we're gonna get phone calls about, well, my trash can is, because we're not ready for the trash can part. And is there any way to get him grants to help him get ready for the trash can part? Our county guy,
Yes,
the Higgins?
there is, and we need to look into that, some avenues to get money for that.
Let me add something. I met with the Department of Corrections last week, and who knew? But they build all this stuff. They have a metal shop. I mean, they build the fire pits, and they talked about trash can things. So we may be able to, I don't know, can we send those, can the plastic bins work as long as they have a better lid on them? Or do they have to be the metal
Some
ones?
of the videos I've seen,
Yeah.
no.
That's what I was thinking, so if we need metal ones, maybe we can work with the Department of Corrections to help us in some way, just as an idea.
Oh, yeah, I think, the Department of Corrections would be an excellent source to ask for, some help with that. The plastic cans, there's some modifications you can do to the lids to put latches on them. But the issue that you're gonna run into with that is, the functionality is dependent on the guest latching that lid back every time. And, they're here to vacation, and that's not
That's
really
more work than they wanna
in
do.
the forefront of their mind, and it's, so.
So what's the cost on those trash cans?
I don't remember. The metal bear-proof cans are up in, $1,200 a can through Bearwise. Now, if, we went through a different avenue, if we, got the Department of Corrections to build us some, or,
But I think we'll go to
Smithville FFA.
local FFA chapters, because they're always looking for projects. You can, just get them a template in metal, those FFA groups.
Jeremy Mixon. Or,
Yeah, Jeremy Mixon has a
Yes.
metal shop, and he's now working for Choctaw Nation.
Yeah. So I talked to him, and he's in the process of getting some sketches for designs, and then from there he can get some price estimates. And he said if we could get 30 to 40 commitments to buy cans, then he could go ahead and build a batch. And the issue right now is we're kind of in a recession as far as rental properties, VRBO, so it might be difficult to get 30 or 40 cabin owners on board right now. I mean, the bear issues have been low this summer, so it's not, in
And
the
they're about
forefront
to
yet.
hibernate.
But it would be good to practice with a few of them to see
Yeah.
if they needed to be modified before next summer's chaos starts. I mean, wait until next summer's chaos is not the right time to figure this out.
Well, Brad Pennington said that a lot of the cabins do not have enough trash cans for the size of the cabin. And he is considering going up on the price because he wants to help. He wants to do this, but he can't afford to do it. I mean, that's a lot. But that's part of the problem. There's not enough trash cans out there.
Well, one of the things that we can do, we had a special meeting of our board yesterday looking at ordinances. And so if we can create an ordinance that requires a bear-proof trash can, or if you've had more than one incident with a bear, you will then be required to have a bear trash can in order to continue renting your cabin.
If you're a 4-bedroom, you have to have at least 2 trash cans.
That's what I said,
5-bedroom,
yeah,
3.
so help us think of what kind of ordinance would help, which is you must have sufficient trash cans for your occupancy level. And the trash people determine what's sufficient, not the owner. No, one's good is they pile all the trash on top. I mean, we've all seen that. And,
Yeah.
if it doesn't fit in the trash can, then you're gonna need to have another trash barrel.
Yeah, I think that's an excellent idea.
I think getting information to cabin owners too about, I mean, like Matt said, it's not a huge issue now, but as much as Hochatown is growing and as many people are coming here, I mean, it's gonna continually pull in bears. So if you can impress upon the cabin owners that it's beneficial for them not to create that nuisance, because even if it's just, starts out as just scattering trash or maybe scaring someone, eventually that bear's gonna come there and there's not gonna be trash, and he's gonna smell it in a guest car, or he's gonna smell it somewhere in the cabin and tear up a car, trying to get to that food, which is gonna be an insurance claim.
I have the city trash containers. Those are, I can take one finger and open it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So we gotta talk to the city too.
Yeah. Yeah, that's another issue with the, you know, the modified trash cans, even the Bear Creek cans. It's got to be something that the trash people are willing to work with to kind of empty, because it's gonna be a little extra effort on their part.
Have y'all talked to the, you know, waste management companies and other areas of Colorado, Tennessee, whatever, to find out what those waste management companies have that can dump the trash cans that are bear-wise?
I don't know.
I don't wanna reinvent a wheel if Colorado already invented it.
Mm-hmm. One of the designs on the Bearwise website is just a metal container that holds a plastic can, and that looks to me like that would be the most feasible. It wouldn't be changing anything as far as the trash can. It would just be a secure cage to put them in.
Yeah, I've seen those. My son lives in Idaho, outside of Yellowstone, and that's what they have, are those. And then there's like a little slot where you can put, you know, a little slot where you can put your trash, and then it comes back down, and somehow that thing kind of goes like that, and so there's nothing they can grab on, you know, or push. So
And it's kind of an automatic latch, so
yeah,
that you don't
yeah,
have to
it just
depend
kind
on
of folds back under itself. So,
Yeah.
and then they have those. Those are, you know, all along the city streets and everything. There's no trash out there.
Mhm.
So.
You know, those things, they're not only gonna keep the bears out, they're also gonna keep the coons and the possums and everything else out, so that, you know, the cleaners aren't having to go pick up the trash, or the trash people aren't having to rake it up off the side of the road. It's,
It's all contained.
Or have the poor little raccoons get out of the trash cans.
yeah,
That is a problem.
Yes.
yeah, there's nothing more ferocious than a mad raccoon.
My other concern is barbecue grills and how we're going to, because boy, that's gotta smell good.
Mhm.
And then the renters aren't going to clean them. I mean, they're gonna sit there dirty, and 3 o'clock in the morning to have a bear on your porch tearing up your grill. I mean, what do we do about that?
Yeah, I mean, there's not a whole lot you can do for an outside grill other than clean it. I mean, if he knocks it over and there's nothing in there, then he's gonna move on. But,
I'm gonna encourage my owners to, let's take all the grills off the porches. The few that are there, because of propane regulations, most of the grills are off the porches right now anyway. But get them out in the yard, come off the porch, so if the bear wants to attack it, let it go for it, but let's not do it on the porch.
that's a good idea, because that, you know, grease stripping on the porch is gonna put the bear on the porch when the guest walks out the door, and that's gonna create an instant conflict right there.
So gentlemen, so when we have a bear encounter, okay, so that little flyer, one, that's got, that other one, that one there's got a
So-
phone number on it. So that's what you want people to do, is call y'all, not us.
Yeah, that's actually my cell phone number, and I had them put that on this door hanger. I got these door hangers mostly for situations, we had, about a month or so ago, we had a bear report. A warden texted me and said, we've got a bear at one of the cabins in Hochatown, and sent me the guest phone number. And I called and called and called, and no answer. And I was actually out of town, so I sent somebody down there to do a site visit and look at the situation.
Sorry, we're under construction.
And,
We
I'll
have
talk
growing
about it.
pains.
And so the Forest Service lady who went down there and looked at it said she got there and nobody was there. And the bear was gone by that time anyway, so. But what do you do in that situation? You can't get a hold of the guest and you don't know. So a door hanger like this would be something we could hang on the doorknob and leave, and they've got my phone number and some information, and
I would make that a lot bigger.
the phone number.
Yeah, I had a hard time finding it. I mean, just, if I'm seeing a bear and scared, I'm like, you know,
Yeah.
it's really small way down at the bottom.
We could do that.
How long does it take for a bear to become habituated? I mean, it's been in
One
the area,
Mendoza,
been in the
oh,
area a
yeah.
while, right?
If he gets something to eat, odds are he's gonna come back.
So it's pretty instant then. So the quicker that you're contacted, the easier it is for you to take them
Yes.
away.
Yes. Yep. And that bear that I was referring to that took me from June to November to catch, that was the issue, I think. He had been eating out of a corn feeder so long that he wasn't willing to go look for his own stuff in the woods. And right before I actually caught him, I was getting reports. I didn't see pictures of it, but guests feeding him out of their hand, eating Cheetos.
Oh.
And you know, that's just that far from
Yeah.
our
Your
first
hand.
bear attack.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow. But guests do that. I mean, we think, how could anybody, but they do. I mean, they try to feed them. We had a raccoon incident, ended up at the hospital, 2 weeks ago?
Oh, wow.
I mean, people feeding a raccoon and it bit them,
Yeah,
you know? So,
yeah. Well, I mean, to their defense, a lot of them don't know better.
that's what I'm saying, they just
And-
don't understand.
Yeah, and nothing's cooler than a selfie with a,
Yeah,
Bear.
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, well, they're coming up on job sites too. My boyfriend's in construction and his crew was eating lunch and the bear came up and was kind of charging them. And they were kind of getting ready to shoot it. So, I mean, what happens then? I mean, they started throwing stuff at him and he finally left, but he was after their lunch.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
What
if you
would
feel,
happen to them if they shot a bear?
yeah, I mean, if you
Out of
feel like,
season.
if you feel like they're threatening you,
Lethal, you know, that's a last resort. There needs to be something to show that we threw rocks at it, we yelled at it, we left. I mean, if you just stay there and there's a bear, that's kind of on you. You need to leave.
yeah, but,
You need to get out of the area. I mean, I know they're
Right.
working and whatnot.
right,
It needs to be a last resort, and you need to be able to articulate that I was in fear, I was protecting, we did this, this, and this, and the bear charged, and I felt like my life was in danger.
yeah,
So every one of those situations, because we've had calls before, oh, a bear was after me, and then like you go up there, there's a pile of corn in the road 50 yards from the camper, and the bear's on the other side of the corn dead.
yeah,
Well, that bear wasn't the threat to the person in the cabin.
yeah.
So
yeah.
it kind of depends on each
Well, yeah, they've
situation.
got microwaves and stuff, and so they're microwaving their lunch, and I guess that's what they, I guess that's what he
Yeah.
smelled and came out, and man, he was wanting their lunch, so.
So,
Maybe they
so
should have fed him.
So do you work with these guys when you have a bear encounter? I mean, do you call them and say, hey, we got a bear, do y'all all work together on it, or?
Do
how
I
does that-
work with who's?
Choctaw Nation.
See, no, we haven't. Are y'all gonna implement a nuisance barrier? We
So-
don't so far, but
We're pretty new, I mean, our department's a little over a year old, so, I mean, you're looking at the entire department, so.
I'm just thinking it's cool you have a department.
So, as we grow, we would like to help ODWC with nuisance bears. That's kind of something we have in the plans. Jordan has been to wildlife immobilization training in last July,
Oh, yeah, it was June.
June. So she's pretty fresh on that, but as we move forward, we're in helping.
Where do you live?
During.
Duran?
Yeah, we're on the headquarters.
Oh, okay. So, here, we really don't have, where do you, up here?
I'm out at Patoka.
Atoka? So these guys here haven't really formed your, host security department for the Hochatown location, have you?
That security's a whole separate entity from us. That'll be a whole different ballwax there.
If a call comes into the game warden first, and your Choctaw Nation game, so if it comes into just the game warden first, how does it get to you? How does the report, how do you know that the bear is a nuisance somewhere in a subdivision?
That happens a lot because people, whenever they have an issue, the first thing they think of is call a game warden. And so they'll call the game warden, and the game wardens, they're, law enforcement. So if it's a bear issue, typically they call me, and then, yeah.
So they do know to call, they know to go ahead and get in touch with you then,
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
Y'all still have the flow chart, don't you?
Yeah. And I put together a call chart to get in front of dispatchers, and I need to.
Right. I was
So,
thinking too.
that's
I mean,
one-
if you're not available, who do we call?
Right.
One of the things that, we're working on a lot of things, but a couple of things that are relevant to this group is, one, we've got our website that we've got up, and on that front page is, emergency contact numbers, and we can certainly add, bear-wise, if you have a contact with a bear, so we can add that. I think the game wardens are already on there.
They are, yeah.
Okay. So we can do that. The other thing is, we're working on having a one nuisance phone number for all the cabins through a contract agency that is answered 24/7 by staff in the US that you can call about any kind of nuisance. So we would definitely want them to also have your number of what to do based on what the nuisance call is. And then this is why working together. We can put it in our ordinances, that you can't have a corn feeder at your cabin. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't wanna be the one to tell them that, but, I mean, if it becomes an issue, if it becomes an issue,
I have
we
a
may
corn feeder
say.
at my house. That makes me sad
Yeah.
though. God, it makes me sad though. See, that's what I'm doing. So,
No corn, no corn.
well, see, I am kind of switching over because I think the protein's better for them anyway. So, anyway.
But those are some things that we should look at is, if we wait to get in front of it when we're covered up in bears, it's just gonna be a lot harder. And I know people say, well, there's not that many bears, let's not get rid of the corn feeders.
Yeah, and going back to your little flyer there, which I keep going back to it because, we got like 4,000 cabins, and they're gonna be throwing those away, and that's a lot.
I wasn't planning on keeping those on doorknobs. Like I said, that was just an idea I had for times whenever we go down to a cabin and there's nobody there,
Oh, you can
and
do
we
that.
we can't get a hold of them by phone or something, we can just.
I've stayed at quite a few cabins here. When you walk in, there's always a laminated sheet stuck somewhere with the cabin rules. Could you not do the same thing with that, where it's not something they could easily just wad and throw in the trash, and that way, every time you go to a cabin, here's cabin rules, here's bear rules. That would-
I was thinking, so, I don't know what % of the cabin managers or owners put, what do they call it? House guide or
Guess
Yeah.
what?
guest
Yeah.
book with where to eat, what to do if you see a bear. We just add one more page to their guest book.
So it seems to me early detection is the key.
I agree.
Education with I can see an example of cleaners saying, oh, there's a bear, isn't that cool? And they don't tell anybody. They just they snap pictures of it, and you might see it on Facebook, but they don't call and let anybody know. And if that's the first time that bear's been seen in that subdivision, there's a real good chance that you could get rid of it right away.
Right.
But if it's there for 3 weeks, now all of a sudden, who knows whether it may take 3 months after that, right? So
Right.
the early detections to me seems like the key to the whole thing.
That is key. If we wait till the bear is habituated, and we go trap that bear and haul him 50, 60 miles and drop him off. Odds are he'll be back in 3 days. We've done that over and over and over until we've learned that relocation is not really the answer. It's prevention, early prevention.
Yeah, once they figure out there's a food source, they remember where it's at for sure. So,
Yes, sir.
Proactive instead of reactive.
Yeah.
But also, Matt, what is y'all's protocol? I mean, just seeing a bear is not, we're gonna come trap it, right? And there's gotta be some type of, it's gotta be in the trash, it's gotta be, in other words, just, if a bear runs across the highway out there, they're not gonna come trap it. 'Cause it's-
understood, but if it's in
Yeah.
a subdivision in the backyard of a cabin, that's a
That's
completely different
different,
situation.
yeah, in the backyard, just, just seeing one is not gonna be,
Yeah,
they're not
Understood.
gonna call out the National Guard for that. But
I agree.
yeah, there's gotta be some more to it.
Yeah, basically there has to be some element of human safety in order for us to go relocate that bear. Because like I said, that's odds are he's just going to come right back. But
So
not to say-
if you've got, if you've got 90 acres and, let's say 75, let's call them residences, and this bear's in that subdivision, I mean, isn't that a big enough threat? Is that, they're in an area where they really shouldn't be trying to live, right?
well, they're there. They're going to be there anyway. I mean, they do live there. So
Yeah.
trying to change that is, fighting nature. But if it's a trash bear, then what we would try to do is assess the situation and see if securing that attractant, because most of the time that's the answer. Secure the attractant, the bear moves on.
Gotcha.
But if if it's getting up on the porches and an unnatural lack of fear for humans, and we see this in a lot of our yearling males that are getting kicked out of the nest during breeding season, they have no fear of people. I mean, I had one this past summer that just walked right up to me. I mean, 10 feet from me.
Yeah.
Just-
I mean, this has been a while back, but we had one come up on the back porch, and it was after it tore the rabbit pen apart. Didn't bother the rabbits at all. Ate their food. Then realized that there was more food up on the deck. Wound up getting up on top of the deck, and to your point on the plastic container, just
Shredded everything.
it tore it in half. Just completely tore the container in half, and ate all the rabbit food. Well, actually, there was so much rabbit food there that it was laid up against a tree, like it knew there was another meal, So it was pretty easy to catch, but yeah, that was not a good experience to wake up and you hear this. You think somebody's on your back porch, and it's
They are.
and they're twice as big as you. Yeah.
So are y'all interested at all in tracking sightings?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So do you want people to call you when they see one, just so you can track the sighting?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we keep up with all of those kind of reports. And
Is that something that can be done online? Do you have a website where somebody can just go and report?
we don't. Typically, I just take the call and ask for coordinates or
Gotcha.
an address, and I put that into. We have a SharePoint report form that puts that all together, and I can filter that information out if we ever need it in
I
the
see.
future.
Okay.
Well, our guests love to report a bear sighting, so I don't think that'll be a problem.
Yeah, we're seeing too many pictures on Facebook right now
Yeah.
of people
Maybe we-
bragging.
Yeah.
Maybe we
do you
just
think
need a
about that?
Facebook page that is dedicated to reporting bears, and then
Yeah.
you just
Well,
go there.
What if you put something on your website? I mean, you've got your nuisance numbers and everything, have like a little web form, like they put in their name, contact information, address, what they saw, and then y'all can share with us and that and go from there.
They could upload a picture too, because
Yeah.
lots of bears are, is that the same bear or is that 3 bears?
Right.
Yeah.
If they've got the white crest or crooked
Yeah,
ears, then you're
yeah.
like, that's the same bear.
Orange tag.
Yeah.
Okay, so say it again, you wanna do what?
Do something on y'all's website where they can report, you put like their name, address, phone number, take a picture of the bear, and then put like some kind of web form.
Yeah, And then I think but I was also thinking that we need to have people report to us, and then we report to y'all.
Yeah.
Because we need to be able to,
Track it and do it.
we need to know if we got a bear in this subdivision, we need to target that subdivision with a whole lot of campaigns. So that everybody in that subdivision, knows that we've had bear sighting, if you see them again, and
Awareness.
focus on this one area
And don't
until.
keep the
But
bears.
instead of them calling us, because remember, we're all still volunteers, I would rather put one of y'all's contacts info on our website to say, fill out this, yeah.
Well, or
Yeah,
like
no.
on that web form, whenever they fill it out, it would send it to Matt, it would send it to us, and send y'all a copy, just send a copy
That's
to
what I'm
everybody.
thinking, but, you know, I
Yeah.
don't think Hochatown's ready to take on being responsible for taking
Right.
bear calls.
Right,
You
right.
know, you guys are much more I'm looking at both of you. Y'all are, you know, a lot more qualified than we are to take a bear call.
Right, but that's good information for us to know.
Yeah, it's
too.
good for us to
Yeah.
have.
So
Yeah.
we
That way
definitely,
we all get a copy of what.
we definitely can add the Bearwise phone number to the, we have a front page with emergency contact information that has pretty much anybody that you can imagine, short of the National Guard, that you can contact. And we definitely will add you to that. As far as a form, an interactive form, I don't think that's probably something that's gonna happen anytime soon. So, the best things, where I'm thinking is that if there is a nuisance bear, the people that are likely to know about it are gonna be the agencies and the cabin cleaners. They're the ones that are most likely. Somebody's gonna write it in the book. They're gonna, you know, this word of mouth, and the bear's gonna be around. I mean, the bears are gonna be out in the daytime, and that's when the cabin cleaning's going on. And, you know, that's, I think, something we could probably help with is some sort of education campaign through our website that could put information on the front page that people could understand what they do when they see that.
Or what if there was a form like you're talking about on y'all's website and we link to it?
Right, that's a good idea too.
Marketing, put something on our
That's-
page.
And then it could be exactly all the information you want and we would just link to you.
Yeah.
Have like a cabin owners association.
We have different homeowners associations, but they're not very active.
And not all of the divisions have them.
That's
I
true
was just
too.
wondering if there was like, y'all had any kind of annual meeting where we could come in and give this presentation to the owners instead of y'all having to do it.
No,
Yeah, cause Matt and I talked about that too, trying to figure out how to get to every cabin owner.
Well, the way that we can do that is, you know, maybe before I was talking to Amy Davis with the Hochatown Landing this week, and there's starting to be some, you know, it's starting to get drive-in and, you know, coffee pots on at the little containers where they use for an office. Maybe in a little while, we could have a meeting there to say, hey, come tour the casino that'll be opening soon, the resort, and hear a little presentation about Bearwise or what else the Choctaw Nation is doing, but maybe make a cabin owners open house or pre-open house type
Yeah.
event,
There's some
because
really-
they wanna go see that, you know, you gotta, what's in it for me, besides a lecture on a bear?
Yeah,
But
there's
if
some
they-
really good, Facebook pages for the investors out there. I think
Yeah.
there's a good 4 or 5 good ways to reach almost all of them. I mean, they're all on it, and some of them are comical, the questions that they ask, but that's where
Where
we'll
they learn.
start,
Yeah.
is to be on those pages. Plus, we have our own Hochatown Facebook page too. And we was wanting to talk Charles into being our, person, our local, to talk about bears, you know?
Back off, Bear.
Do a little Hochatown
Well-
publicity with,
The thing about having an owners meeting to me was, boy, the cabin operators won't be making any money that week. And having to put up with a bunch of owners.
Oh,
oh yeah, that's true.
But you know, the
They
week of
never come at the
Thanksgiving
same
and the
time.
week of Christmas is a good time to have owners meetings, because a lot of them are in their cabins up here that week. You know, do it like on a Tuesday between Christmas and New Year's, or Tuesday before Thanksgiving, but we have a lot of owners in their cabins during that time.
I'd be good with that. Ultimately, the things that we do at each cabin is gonna have to go through the the owners will have to have their okay ultimately.
Well, ultimately, probably not, because one of the things is we can have municipal ordinances now, and that's why, because everybody just does, well, you can't tell me I can't have a corn feeder, and I like my guests to feed the bears, because it gets my cabin booked. Well, we can have bear, or, nuisance animals, or whatever we call it, but those are some ordinances that we could look at and work with you guys on as to, are we gonna require, in order for them to have a business license for a rental cabin, to have a Bear-Wise trash can at $1,200? We don't want to, but
Yeah, I mean, but they're required to have other things.
this would,
That
I
may
mean, it
just
may just
be part of
the cost of
code.
doing
They have
business.
to bring things, out, they have to spend money to bring other things up to code for safety,
Right.
and that's just gonna be part of building your cabin, that's a cost.
And next year could be 6 months, 8 months, but we will have a handle on everybody in Hochatown, because even, cleaners are gonna have to have permits, so we know who they are. Here's the information. We're not there yet. I mean, we
We're on our
don't
way.
even know who all these people that own cabins are, but we will within this next year.
And, I'm thinking something for the cleaners, they are our first eyes and ears. And also Brad Bennington with trash cans, they go to every cabin, every subdivision, and they can see. So if we could, ask them, hey, did you see any bear tracks, who do you think made this big mess
Tore
here?
this up.
Who do you think did this, Does it look like this?
Hey, Diane, that might be a good idea right there, to work with Brad on doing a sticker on his trash cans as a first step in making people aware of bears.
That was the first thing I was thinking of. What if we gave the cleaners a sticker for their phone or something?
Yeah. But these trash cans, it could be a sticker this big
Yeah.
that says, beware of bears. Yeah, about this size, beware of bears, and
Close the lid, latch the lid.
yeah,
Yeah.
don't overflow, keep it in the cabin, don't put it out here.
Yeah. They do,
So,
man, they just
on
pile
the
it up
trash can.
and stick it on the side, and it all ends up in my yard when the
Well,
raccoons.
that could be one of the nuisance phone numbers that we have is if you see an overflowing trash can, you call the nuisance number who will reach out to the owner and say, you need to make a special trash run
Yeah.
because your trash can is overflowing.
Bear-Wise, they make stickers for those trash cans, so.
Oh, good.
Yeah, that's already done.
Okay,
Nice.
we need 2,000 stickers.
Yeah, that's enough. No, I don't have an extra budget for this stuff, I just kinda, pilfer it out of my own area budget, so, but I can look into, or we can look into some grant stuff for that too.
We can probably help with stickers. One of the things that we had looked at was, maybe getting one of the billboards going into town with some Bear-Wise stuff. That was really expensive. But we've also looked into targeted digital marketing with geofence for anyone coming in. That was pretty expensive too. But I mean, I can talk to our commerce people and see if they can help with that, since Hochatown or Choctaw maybe. It's gonna be such a big part of.
Part of the problem is people don't read. We did burn ban, we did 50 signs. And still, I didn't see a sign. I never saw a sign. So.
I did, in trying to get in contact with some of the owners, I've called around and finally decided the cleaners, like you're saying, well, that's your best in right there. And I forget, her name, but she said she was in charge of like 100 cabins.
We've got several of those, which is good. You get a big swath.
Yeah.
Those that do, 20 or more cabins, 100 or more cabins, you reach so many of them by starting with the big operators.
Yeah.
There's no question the people that are on routes, like the cleaners, the Choctaw Electric people, anybody, the trash people, anybody that's running routes that are in and out of these subdivisions on a routine basis, we need to reach out to them and make sure they have information, understand what their responsibility is to help us, to make sure we identify. It's agreed that there's their habitat too, and so it's, there's a fine line as to when they become a nuisance, but if we know that they're there, then it's easier to keep an eye on them, and rather than they just, you know, they're having themselves a little bear party and nobody's telling anybody else about it. So I think reaching out to Choctaw Electric, CTS, the cleaners, the agencies with cleaning companies, anybody that's in and out of those subdivisions regularly, tax assessor's office,
Yeah, water department.
water department, exactly. Those are the kinds of people that can help us.
Give those little 3-digit phone numbers, you know, like 911 and EMS has a 3 something something, and you know what I mean? Make it really simple so people could remember it,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
I don't know how you get those.
I don't know. But wouldn't that be cool? That way, I mean, there would be a lot, that's a big old phone number, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like,
Well,
where's
that's
that
what
card?
it
Where's
needs
that
to be
card?
on a
You know?
sticker, you know, it needs to be on a bear sticker or something.
Or a magnet, like I got Choctaw Electric on magnet.
Mhm.
How big is the incorporated area, like the town?
What's the question?
How big is Hochatown?
17 square acres. So that's,
Yeah.
I mean, miles, 17 square miles. It's, I forget how many acres. We're 80% of the cabins, short-term rental cabins, 80% of them are inside of our boundary. So there's a 20% still outside, but some of those are down like Sweet Home Road. That'd be a kind of almost a different jurisdiction from us. But then there are some north of us. There's about 5 subdivisions that we didn't capture north of us yet.
In Southern Hills, 259A.
Yeah.
I think the ones up north are gonna be your bear cabins.
That's the reason I say that. There's some up north that you're likely to have problems with because they border national forest and just typical habitat, and so and then they're going to hear noise and the bear's going to be attracted. You know, it's just the way it works. You know how it works. But and we've seen them. I've seen them on the Upper Mountain Fork, which is not far. As a crow flies, it's less than 3 miles from where the northernmost subdivision is to the river. Some hilly terrain, but the bear doesn't care. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but the chances of it down here, inside of these subdivisions, like I say, it's 80% of it is inside of our boundary. So that's where we start.
So what would you say the best way to get bear-wise info into the cabins would be? Is it a flyer in the guest book? Is it a refrigerator magnet, or?
A lot of your refrigerators, you can't, they
They're
don't
not magnet
magnet.
anymore.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's a thing of the past now.
Yeah.
You know, the sides of them are, but they usually got a wall right there. So the best way is handouts that they can put in their guest directories.
Do most cabins have a guest book?
I
or-
know.
Almost all of them do.
Yeah.
They do. There's a book done by the Chamber of Commerce, but I don't know how. I'm not going to promise you it's very effective.
It's not.
Yeah, and then the guest books typically are for people to, you know, leave little
Right.
happiness in.
Review,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
But the
but
chamber-
maybe not guest book, I was thinking the house rules. Most of
Yeah.
them have this
Yeah.
3-ring
Yeah.
binder.
That's
that-
true. That's true.
What
Yeah.
about the information that's sent out by the management companies that gives directions on how to get there?
Mhm.
What if there was some information in that?
Yeah, we
A
need
lot of them
to
have it, you
confirmation.
know, you are in the woods, there will be bees, there will be ticks, there will be a
Spiders.
snake, there
Well,
will
in
be a
my
spider.
confirmation, it has, I have a clause down there
Mhm.
because, I mean, you know, and this happened many years ago, that somebody was trying to hold me liable because, you know, some animal bit them, you know, on the property. So I have a clause at that. So we need to, and a lot of people, as we grew, I was one of the first operators down here, so as we grew, people just copy and paste my website, you know? So a lot of people have that kind of disclosure on there because that's how they started. We just copy and paste each other's
So
stuff.
you need to add a line that says, if you get killed by a bear, don't call me.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right.
You crawl off my property before you die.
Yes.
You know, once we get our town hall set up and our library set up, Nick said he would try to have the library set up this Thursday and Friday, which is like now. You know, so since we get these things set up, we can invite people to come to a little Bear Wise. You know, we can get those little, you know, bear stuffed animals, and we can have some kind of children's.
Oh, I remember what I was thinking, I couldn't pull out of my hat. Broken Bow Chamber of Commerce right now is soliciting for ads for their lodging book and their attraction book. And
Yeah.
I think that would be a smart place to advertise
Yeah.
fair-wise.
That's the one I was referring to.
Yeah.
It's easy to get in it. I just don't know how effective it is. But for this kind of information,
Yeah, it still should, I think it still should.
it
I
definitely
think the
definitely
social
should be in
media
it.
is the way to go, but I'm a big social media fan because I think people think it's fun.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think it's inexpensive
Mm-hmm.
and people think it's fun if we just make more posts. But, you know, have you in the photo or a little, 20-second video, even a 5-second video. People don't want to watch much longer than that. You know, put Charles in, have you guys come out, but we can make them cute and fun and just super tiny short, and I think people engage with that.
I would agree with that.
I do too. And
And we can do it now.
and I'm of the mindset that data is data. So it doesn't matter if you get an education campaign out there that we're interested in sightings. It doesn't matter where there are. We can filter that part out. Like you sight one on the river, yeah, no kidding. But if you sight one in a subdivision, yeah, that's different.
Red flag.
Yeah, and so I think we can probably build an education campaign where people will understand, hey, it's great that you saw that bear, but could you also let us know that you saw it? And,
Mm-hmm.
And then just the repetition.
Yeah.
It really is just about repeating it everywhere that we have a source to be able to, disseminate information.
yeah.
One of the things my mom does is she has those carved bears. A lot of the cabins have those little wooden carved bears. Well, my mom dresses hers every season. So at the 4th of July, they're waving flags, and if it's cold, they're wrapped up in their little scarf and their little toboggan. But we could get some of those little bears and dress them up, put the little, she puts hunter orange on them during deer season, don't shoot my bears. But we could use those types of things to dress the bear up and say, with marshmallows, don't feed the bears type thing, and just make it fun. Without having to go look for a real bear to do this with.
Oh, yeah. I'm
Yeah.
all for that.
I'm all for not doing it with a real bear.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Charles said he's in.
Is he?
Yeah.
Yogi or Blue Blue.
There's a little bear.
Well, I can say, Hochatown needs its own mascot, and it could be a bear, but it's pawpaw, P-A-W, for the pawpaw tree, that everybody's wanting to know where the pawpaw trees are. They've never heard of a pawpaw tree, but it's native. It's, the largest fruit in North America that's native. I mean, it's kind of a big deal to find all the pawpaws here.
There's a song about a bear and a pawpaw in the Jungle Book, wasn't there?
So, I mean, we
Baloo
can
and
make it
his
a fun
pawpaws.
thing.
Bears, necessities.
Yeah, bear. That's right.
I could sing it, but I'm not going to.
No,
Yeah,
it was.
no.
It's
Please
okay.
clear this up.
Go right ahead.
Forgotten all the words my kids are
Yeah, kids are great, because they're always cute, we just need to bring in some owners and guest 4-year-olds to do the pawpaw song for us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, anything to get people to thinking that there are bears here. I mean,
Right.
those folks, a lot of times when we hear about it, it's from the trash guys, and it's Sunday checkout, and the bear's already, he's got 3 good meals, so he's established.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Choctaw has their little handout. I said this from their little meeting the other day, and I thought it was really good. I mean, it maps, I like the little bear thing on the bottom
I did too.
that emphasizes that.
Nita is bear in Choctaw?
I thought that was the name of the bear.
You thought what?
I thought that was the name of the bear. I didn't realize that was Choctaw. So, but that's a good little handout.
Nita's our cover model.
Yeah.
She's expensive though.
Is she?
I bet.
Yeah.
This is who you need to have a picture with right here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I saved this from the workshop we did.
So then for like to-dos, should we get the, cost of those trash stickers as a first thing? So, you think those would be effective and we
Yeah.
could get a cost and maybe, if there's grant opportunities.
They're on the Bear
if
Wise
they're-
website, did you say?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So adding him to the front page of .gov is is an easy one. That's a go-do.
Okay, so we're gonna, add, the wildlife conservation to our website.
Because I think I have the state number on there already. Let me look.
And
and see.
then,
I think you do
and
too.
then Skip, what
Yes.
about that button, like a citing, Shell said the citing button, I mean, who do we work with for that?
So we can add that in that same section to where there's a bear sighting. If you bear sighting and you hit this button, and it'll take you to where you can report
Yeah,
it.
you just hit. And
If
then-
there is a place to report it.
Oh, that's good. And so then,
Looking at the stash and latch.
And the
add,
button might just say,
I just did stickers.
text Matt,
Oh.
918.
So this is the one their trash cans.
where
stash and
add like
latch.
a citing button.
How many would you want
Get that from him. It's good.
of the trash cans?
What's that?
You
just
know,
have a
he's
place to connect
probably, I'd have to ask Brad how many trash cans are out there, but let's just say there's 2 per cabin.
This is 4,000.
That's
So you're
4,000.
looking at least, at least 4,000.
And let's record like just a few snippets of videos today.
While everybody's here, try to
Uh-huh.
get some people.
And then the videos would go where?
Social media.
Okay.
You could record PSAs.
And then working with cleaners, we'll come up with something to.
And then cleaners.
All of our chairs were donated, so.
I know, we had like an accident yesterday with Chad. Okay, and what about the cleaners? So what, prep them or?
These stickers are
That probably needs a little organization before.
Yeah, we'll have to
Yeah.
kind of figure out.
There's probably a step. There's probably a planning step prior to that one.
fancy is what I think you're looking at.
But that might be something that we could do pretty quickly. So
Well, and especially once we get the button thing, so they could go there and,
Yeah.
click a citing.
yeah.
And, if the stickers are $1 a piece, we could probably get some sponsors to say, hey, we donate $50 for stickers and we need
Mhm.
30 donors. How many do you wanna donate?
We need to laminate a bunch of these. We'll hang them in businesses like Easy Mart and my store and here and there.
And it would also be good to have some in Spanish. We have a lot of multilingual tourists right now. And cleaners,
And builders.
and
This
builders.
doesn't have a phone number.
And everything was.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Also,
You ever seen the video
There's no phone number.
of the bear, the guy hunting in the tree stand?
Yes,
And
that
the bear climbed up there on the opposite of him and scared the little
Yeah.
whatever out of him.
That was.
Now, that'd be good to have something like that on the video where people would kind of scare, not a picture of a bear being friendly, but one chasing somebody or something.
Skip, we really need this little commercial with Charles,
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be cool?
Well, it'd be.
Maybe running from a bear.
I know.
Yes, there is.
There's one down
My
there.
first time here too.
I
Need your phone.
saw a video of a moose stick its head in a blind and lick the broadhead on the guy. And I'll be like, I don't know what's going on here, but yeah.
Oh, no.
We'll have to add a sticker to this, there's no phone numbers on them. Bear sightings report to something.
Is there no light?
Is there no light in there?
Oh,
Is there a ton of those already printed?
I bought 500 of those.
Because there's a blank spot right next to the ODWC logo,
Oh, that's where the
right here.
phone number goes.
So you could put the phone number or stamp it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Yep.
can add phone numbers to that. I also have a PDF of that. I talked to that one
That's-
cabinet cleaner lady, and I offered her some flyers, and she said, that's okay, just send me the PDF and we'll print them. So,
Nice.
that's a lot cheaper than buying
Slick paper.
slip paper, so. I don't know, for a guest book, I thought maybe that might be preferable, but.
On that PDF though, can you add that there? The phone number to call
You
for
should.
sightings?
Edit.
should
I
be
can.
able to,
I can.
But all sightings
Just to
call,
add text or,
Yeah.
before you send it to that cabin, cleaner,
yeah, I could.
yeah. And then send it to us too?
I can.
Okay.
But you know, while you guys are here and while we got recording stuff, I mean, we could still just record some audio or even just and then lay some fun video over it and just say, this is Matt with OWDC, don't feed the bears. This is, you know, Nita, what's the name of the bear? Nita?
Nita, yeah.
You know,
Nina.
No, that's not her name.
that's what I'm saying, but you know,
It can,
what is a bear in Choctaw?
it
It's
can
Nita,
be.
You know,
I thought that was really cute that y'all named that bear.
but we could record just little one sentence lessons that go with the funny part. You know, you gotta kind of throw your lesson in with the fun. You know, build a bear at Janet's. Don't you have build a bear down there?
Yes, you can go bear in my place.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes, you can.
I did not know you had that.
Yes, I do. It's called Animal Land, not Build a Bear.
Okay, it's called what?
Animal Land.
Okay.
No
You can
problem.
stuff your own animal, you know, put your own little token inside.
So what about bear spray? I've got bear spray at my
That
house.
is expensive. I did some research on that. In one can, it's gone. It's not reusable. And I'm like, holy crap, for me to sell it in the store, which I already signed up with a wholesaler to do that, but I mean, it's $50 a can.
Is it now?
Dang it.
Yeah, I mean, it is the most effective thing in a bear encounter, but, yeah, I don't think there's,
Not gonna be a lot of
What
people
about a
that
whistle?
buy a $50 can and use one time.
I go hiking
Yeah.
with a whistle. Like if I fall down, please come get me.
Well, and my kids, you know, who live in Idaho, when they go out, you know, hunting with their dogs or whatever, they always have those bells on their collars to, you know.
When you go in at Banff, there's a sign that says, that tells a little story about wearing the bells on it, and then at the very end of it, it tells you, you can tell the difference between black bear and brown bear scat, because the brown bear scat has bells
Has
in it.
bells in it. Oh,
But we could have some little bells made.
So Bearwise actually sells whistles too.
Okay.
yeah, they have whistles and bear spray and then, you know, bells on their dogs and.
Yeah, and I've contacted them too. I can wholesale with them too. So,
But you know, maybe the library could have a little children's bear thing. And they have to bring a parent with them. And every kid gets a whistle. Kids love whistles.
oh, yeah.
You know.
There's
Parents
also,
not so much.
Parents,
Yeah.
it's like getting a kid a drum set.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
there's also a flyer that talks about dogs, you know, because that initiates a lot of bear-human conflicts whenever people are walking their dogs, hiking or whatever, and they encounter a bear, and then the bear is threatened by the dog, and the dog is aggressive, and that just kind of escalates things real quick. So there's some flyers on that as well that might be good for.
That might be good.
We have
'cause
a lot of
people-
pet-friendly
yeah,
cabins.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of them.
Does it mention that in the vacation flyer?
I think there was something about a leash in there.
Yeah, yeah.
I think there's actually a
'Cause they
flyer
don't-
that is just specific to
Dogs.
dogs, yeah.
well, good start. Anything you want to add?
Do y'all have a lot of issues with bats?
Oh,
Bats,
Yes.
yeah. We had
So
problems with
another
other
reason
bats.
Thing that y'all are dealing with,
Uh-huh.
and maybe like creating an ordinance for like dogs and their rabies shots and things like that.
That is
That's
on-
what's in my
yeah.
mind.
Kind of like having the bats around. I have a bat house, so.
Yeah, I encourage the bats at my
Yeah,
house too,
me
because
too.
I like bats better than mosquitoes, and
Yeah,
I like
me
snakes
too.
better than mice, so I let the snakes live.
Well, I like the good
Dirt
ones
dog is
live.
better than spiders.
Those other ones don't live.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do like the bats. And I was wondering about, if they require dogs to have shots and stuff, because there's dog-friendly cabins around me, and even though they're supposed to be on their leashes, they're not, and they come up on my porch, and I have to watch my dog, you know, who's used to my yard. He won't leave my yard, but, so I, you know, and I always kind of wonder, wow, I hope because if my dog gets in a tangle, you know, I hope that their dogs, cause my dog is, I hope theirs is. So, and then we got possums too, and I know you gotta have a special vaccination for, possums. So, do y'all require that to have?
Well, that might be something to put in the ordinances, is that all, pet-friendly cabins or whatever must have
Must
proof
have,
of rabies.
yeah,
Current.
rabies,
Rabies
yeah,
vaccine.
because we do have bats. We may not have them in Plano, so.
We've been experimenting with, and I was gonna see if I could find it real quick. It's some kind of, like olive oil, I don't remember what it is right now, that is moving our bats out of our cabins to another cabin. But, and the ideal is that we think that we've discovered is that, they're getting their little feet sticky with this oil that we're putting up there, so they're like, oh, they don't like it, so they're moving on. So we're like, we're all excited about it, cause I mean, you can't have all those, that stuff is poisonous and stinks up the whole attic.
We have some funding for bat houses and we're looking for locations to put them up at. So if y'all would be interested in maybe like a public.
Halloween is coming, great time to have a bat party.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll have a drawing for some bat houses to be put up.
It's everywhere, I mean, Northern Hills is saturated with bats, the whole area up there.
Kind of just like awareness and then, what the benefits are. and all that. All right.
Bat houses. Bat house, yeah, I got one.
I have this one too, 6 Basics of Bear Wise. There's so many good flyers on that website, it's like, which one is the best, you know? I mean, you could do a book on all that stuff.
Is Bearwise a federal organization? Where's Bearwise come from?
It's an organization that is a conglomeration of different wildlife agencies that.
It says created by bear biologists, supported by state wildlife agencies.
Yeah.
Okay.
I really like the idea of the link in the welcome email or the confirmation email. I mean, that's gonna put it in
Excited
front
about
of.
that.
People are more
Yes.
likely to read that probably than
Oh, no, they don't read that
flyer.
either. They call for their directions because no, they didn't.
But the
they didn't
key words
read
were more likely, and you might be right about the more likely.
More likely.
Yeah.
You're not wrong.
More likely
Just
than zero is.
general
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, and maybe the answer is just the shotgun approach. I mean, in
A
the
little bit of everything.
welcome link, a sticker on the trash can, flyer in the guest book, and some paraphernalia.
And the repetition is just so important. You can't just do it once. You feel like you're just repeating yourself over and over, but it really is new people all the time.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they just need the repetition because it's top of mind awareness.
Yep.
So the more you've repeated it, the more likely they are to remember it when the time comes.
So the key is having a call to action, using that shotgun approach, but having a call to action. And then when they do act on that, that's when you latch on. You connect yourself to them then, and then that way there's a channel of communications. But until you get that first call to action button for them to click it, you don't know who they are. And so it's a trick.
And that is one thing to remember is I feel like we're teaching kindergarten here because every Friday we have a new class of 30,000 kindergartners and they all have to be educated about the forest. So it's not like, oh, we'll just do this and then everybody will know. Your 216 residents will know, but other than that, we have to start over every Friday.
Is that a normal number each weekend, 30,000?
30 to 50,000. What do you think it is, Skip? You don't think it's that much?
I know, I don't think it's that much, but it's a.
One year,
I knew it was a lot, I didn't know it was that big.
I get a call from the sheriff's department and they know me well, for no good reason. Janet, you have a guest at a cabin that they're scared to death and they're freaking out and cause somebody's on the porch. I said, okay, what cabin is it? She goes, the address, the cabin with the green roof.
I heard it now.
Yeah.
So,
That
Let me
one.
figure it out.
The one by the pine tree.
So she gave me their name, I found out where they are. The sheriff went all the way out there for a raccoon on the porch, you know? So sheriff called me back, Janet.
Janet called me. I had to go to a cabin that people were scared to death. There was a bear or something outside. And get there, and they're all like their heads are right above when they're in the door, you know, looking. And I go, what are y'all talking about? They go, in that trash can. I opened that trash can, there was coon in there handing me a pizza box. I took the pizza box and it grabbed whatever was below that and jumped out and went on. I said, see there? Lights it
Oh, brother.
When you start talking about these trash cans, I heard a guy tell me one time there's a fine line between a bear-proof trash can and one that a human can shut.
There you go.
That's kind of sad, but I think that's probably true too.
There's probably a high-paid engineer to figure out where that line is.
Yeah.
You're right.
I think that depends on which bear you have and which
That's
human you have
exactly
also.
right.
Yeah.
yeah, if you
It's
make
broad
it
range.
too difficult, the guests are just gonna leave the bag of trash
Right,
sitting next to
right.
the can and it's gonna make it worse.
I like the idea you had of the shell, though, of having something that protects what they already have, because then that's more likely to happen.
Yeah.
It may not be any less cost prohibitive, but it's more likely for them to use it if we can do that.
If it's metal and you just put one of those little automatic gate latches on that's got the finger knob
Yeah.
where it would shut and then all they had to do is take one finger and,
Yeah.
I mean, to me, that's pretty,
Yeah.
I hate to use the word idiot proof, but I just did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Any
we
other-
had a good first start.
Any other actions that we didn't talk about? Anybody have any ideas of something that could be done that's kind of really pretty like a go-do, something that we can just go do, not have to have another meeting or that kind of thing? It's okay if we don't, I just thought I'd question that.
You mentioned earlier about you've got these big cleaning organizations that have hundreds of cabins. So how many people would you be talking about there? Like let's call it the owners of the cleaning.
If you have, well, if she has 100 cabins, she's probably got 40 girls.
Yeah, no, but I'm talking about just that
How
one
many of
person. How
those?
many of those?
Big companies
Yeah.
do you have? Oh, Lord, we don't know yet until we start.
That would be a really good group to where like you invite them up here to a restaurant and feed them, and then we show up and give our little spiel just to that.
The top 15 cabin.
Yeah, 15 or
You're
20.
gonna get 50% of the
Yeah,
cabins.
you know, you're out $500 for a meal, but that brings them there, gives them an incentive to come, and then you.
Where are you gonna feed 15 people for $500?
That's $30 a head. That's not that hard to do.
The corn dog stand.
Yeah. Yeah,
You got one of those.
it might be a taco truck, but.
Yeah, I wish we could do a Hochatown little festival type thing, but not this
Well,
year.
We'll get there. And you know, we could bring a food truck up here now that we're gonna, I mean, we'll get the lights turned on. I mean, we got a little
Yeah.
fixing to do. But we could bring a food truck up here and invite the
Yeah,
cabin
do a local
managers.
day.
Mhm.
That'd be cool.
That would be cool.
Because we're about to have a new day.
Put
Did you
that
tell them
on
to
your
quit
to-do
working,
list.
Jan?
Okay. I just did organize an event for Bear Wise Education,
Uh-huh.
locals.
Charles would be shaking hands,
Mhm.
taking pictures with.
I'm putting that in there.
Uh-huh.
And again, I think doing one at the new resort would be good. Even if it's,
Debbie
you know,
would be the bear.
sheet rock with no electricity.
We need to stop bear. Oh, yeah.
We have
We've got a bear hide.
we have a bear
In
hide
that.
and a couple skulls, and the skulls are really eye opening because people,
Oh, God, I know.
you know,
Smoky
when you
eye.
see these canines that are 2.5 inches
Oh,
long,
man.
it kind of, and the claws, and this is an Oklahoma black bear. It's not a grizzly. It's something that came from right
I
here.
got a bear, come think of it. I got a bear. We'll move it to town hall. I forgot all about it.
My,
Bought it
my
at the
daughter-in-law
auction.
has a bear.
And you know,
skull.
Shane
That
Womack has
thing
bears and bear
is
skulls
wicked.
at the
Oh,
taxidermy
man.
shop.
That's
So
like
we
you
could
freak
probably
people out if
film
you
some
show them
stuff
what a
with
raccoon
him. He's got a great
Oh, yeah.
diagnostic
They
skill.
look at raccoon and oh, that cute little kind of thing. Look at those canines.
Yeah, those bear teeth were just.
Skip,
wicked.
something that we might can film. Shane Womack, he was literally attacked by a bear because he was skinning a bear in Alaska.
Oh,
And
Lord.
another bear came up and he was down here skinning it. And he hears this bear coming and he'd laid his shotgun down, cause he had a knife, you know, gutting this bear. He grabs that shotgun and had one shot, and I mean, that bear was 5 feet from him. You know, but he's made a diorama of that
Mm-hmm.
in the Wildlife Museum. But that might be a good video, say, you know, don't let the bear eat you. Call bear mice.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever seen one strung upside down. Man, it almost looks like a human, you know?
They do.
Yes.
I've heard that my whole life. The first time I saw just a skinned bear laying there,
Yeah.
it'll freak you out. Their musculatures a lot like
Yeah.
ours.
Ew, I don't wanna see it.
You know, we've got friends here that cook bear meat. You know, we could do you
No.
know, squirrel and dumplings and
No.
bear.
No.
Brunswick stew.
Hey, they eat rattlesnake at the rattlesnake festival.
Oh,
We can
Yeah.
have
not me.
Well, that's pretty good.
it is. We got alligator, so we could do some, you know.
I grew up on deer meat. I can't stand it to this day. I think my parents fed me way too much of it. So
Okay.
eating wild game is not on my list.
What else, Janet?
Anything? Good meeting. So we got a lot of good thought came out of it.